College, Delhi University. Before that, he has also completed his schooling from Sainik School, Gwalpara, Assam. He has achieved his feat in his maiden attempt at the age of 22 and is said to become one of the youngest bureaucrats in India. Having known him for more than 10 years, one remarkable quality about Mukund is his consistency. In this session, we hope to learn from his strategy for UPSC CSC preparation. This session has been divided into two parts. In the first part, our guest would be speaking about his strategy, and the second part would be of question and answer session. Questions can be written in the chat box, after which the moderator would be asking questions to the guest. In the meanwhile, I would urge everybody to switch off their mic. Mr. Mukund, you can begin anytime.
Thank you, Sumit. At the very outset, I'd like to thank my best friend Sumit and my dear friends Aditya and Laksh for giving me opportunity to interact with you all. And I'd like to thank you all for joining in this session. And this would be a session I hope that we'll get benefit from each other. And mostly, I try to convey and share everything that I have learned. So basically, I have also tried to divide my talk in different parts. I'll begin with introduction about myself. Most of the things have been covered by Sumit. There is few things that I'd like to add. There is something common that me and all of you share. So in 2016 or 17, I appeared for CLAT examination and I scored a very poor rank. In fact, my rank was somewhere around 1500 and I got this one, Chanakya National Law University in Patna. But since I had already decided to prepare for the civil services, so I left that. And that was something that common between us. And I was also very much enthusiastic about law. I still am, and once given chance, I'll pursue a law from any university that I get to. So now moving on, firstly, I'd like to share my strategy with all of you. And basically, I'd like to just say that I began my preparation from second year of my college, and I prepared for 2 years before I appeared for preliminary examination. So I always say that we have to give uh, 15 to 24 months for this preparation because civil service is one of the toughest examination in our country, and it is like syllabus is so vast. People say that everything under the sun falls under the syllabus of civil services examination. So syllabus is really very vast, and we have to like break it into the parts. And if you go behind completing it in 6 months, then it may seem like it is really very difficult, and it may become a great problem. So I'd just say that once you divide it in 1.5 years, or I'll say 2 years, then you can distribute it in blocks, and that would become very, very easy for all the aspirants to qualify this examination. As per my own experience is concerned, I did not feel that high pressure at any stage, be it at mains or interview, because I was already done with all the syllabus. So it was never that I'm like at the last moment rushing for the sources or something is left. At every stage, be it prelims, mains, or interview, I entered with confidence that I have done a major part, and I would not have trouble appearing for the examination or to solve the questions. So that is thing that is very important, that I would ask all of you that please give time for this examination. That is first one. Second point is that how to go ahead with the preparation, like what should be our strategy, how since syllabus is like very detailed, very vast, so what should we cover first? So I believe that most of you who have thinking of appearing for the civil services must have seen its syllabus, and you must be knowing that there are some parts which are common in preliminary examination as well as mains examination. For example, there are some subjects like history, geography, economics, art and culture, international relations, science and tech, and current affairs. I may have missed some like economics. So these are some common subjects within the preliminary examination and mains examination. So at the very beginning, I'd say that one must have integrated preparation for the prelims and mains. It is not like that you first prepare for the prelims and then you'll again prepare for the mains examination. That is not the case. It is very integrated in nature, and it is very important that one have integrated preparation. So all these common subjects, which I have mentioned a few seconds ago, has to be done first. And this is important because once you've done these subjects, so you just get to know that you have covered the entire syllabus of the prelims examination, and you are also done with the major part of the mains examination. And I believe it will take you somewhere around 15 months. So 1 year and 3 months it will take you to prepare all these common subjects which are there. And by this time, by the end of the year, you would be done with your prelims paper, prelims whole syllabus of preliminary examination. So then again, as I have said that if you have kept 2 years time, so I got whole 1 year to do mock for the preliminary examination. So I used to do mock every Sunday since my prelims syllabus was complete, and a large section of the main syllabus was also complete. And then for the next 3 to 4 months, I do those sections which are exclusive in the mains. For example, entire general studies 4 paper, that is ethics, integrity, and aptitude, would be covered in these 3 to 4 months. Apart from that, there are some sections like internal security, disaster management, world history. So you would see that very less portion of mains is left when you are done with the common portion, and that can be done in next 3 to 4 months of time. And at the background, you are also covering the entire uh, prelims test series, and you are gaining slowly. You are gaining confidence. And here I would also like to talk about the importance of preliminary examination. See, we all of us know that it is mains that are deciding our rank, that is deciding our service, and as well as cadre, which state we are allotted to. But you would not be able to write mains examination if you don't qualify for preliminary examination. Your attempt would be counted, and I believe that the best shot has to be given in the first attempt. When I began my preparation 2 years back, I was determined that I have to qualify in my maiden attempt, because see, if you qualify in the maiden attempt, then you would be someone who would be youngest in your batch. You'd have complete potential, as I talked to few ex-bureaucrats who have retired now. So in last few days, I had opportunity to communicate with them. And most of them says that when you enter before 24, or say enter at the age of 23, 24, you would be someone who can become the cabinet secretary of India. And that is the highest post that bureaucrat can reach up to. So that is another advantage, because at the age of 60, everyone has to retire. So it is very important that you give your best shot in your first attempt. You'll get, I believe, as per my conversation with other people, I got to know that there is also advantage in the interview. So you'll be someone who'd be fresh candidate, and you'd be getting around 20 to 30 marks extra as compared to veterans. So that is the thing. But at the same time, I'd also say that do not be demotivated even if you are not making in the first attempt. Prelims examination is a very risky game. We may get out of the list just because we hit the two question wrong. So that may take you out of the list. So never get demotivated, but make sure that you try to make in the first or second attempt. That would be very helpful throughout the career. Now, I have already said that after 15 months, you would be done with the common subject of prelims and mains if you are at the average speed. So if somebody is like having a good speed with reading, he can complete even before that. And it is just a rough framework. So this is something that I did and worked for me. You can have your own plan that will suit you. You may be slow reader, so you may take some extra time. If you're fast, if you're doing fast, so you may take some lesser time. Next thing that we have to do is that we have to focus on optional subject. And here, before I begin, what is the time frame timeline that we have to give? It is very important to understand the importance of optional subject. See, optional subject is very, very important because if you look at the marks that one individual gets in the optionals, though I have not got my marks, it takes usually 15 days. So I'll be able to share exactly later on. But as per my analysis from the previous toppers, I saw that optional is something that makes difference of 100 to 120 marks. So if you give your best, if you get best score in general studies paper, so maximum marks that you will get in one paper is 125 marks. And if you combine two GS papers, so out of 500 marks, you will get 250 marks. But in optional, out of 500 marks, there is high potential that you will get at least 300 marks. That is the minimum you will get. And if you have like expertise in optional paper, you can go up to 350 marks. So optional is something that makes difference of 100 marks. And believe you me, 100 marks is like I cannot tell you the importance, because at 1 mark in 2017, there were 34 candidates that were sharing single mark. So on one single mark, 34 candidates were sharing that rank. So you can imagine the importance of 100 marks. It can throw you out of the list. You may get, if you are somebody who was about to get IS, so you may get some allied service, which obviously you would not like, and then you'll again appear for the civil service examination. So optional is very, very important. It has huge potential to score very great marks, and you can go up to 350 marks. There are some technical optional, like not technical, there are some engineering subjects or say mathematics in which people score up to even 360 or 370. So there it makes huge difference. But then there are some general subjects like political science and international relation, that was my optional, in which you are safer to score 300 marks and you can go up to 330. So that is why now I have talked about the importance of optional. So you must have realized how important it is. So I'd like to talk about the time frame that one has to give. So minimum, I would say that give 4 months, and at max, I would say that give 6 months. So 6 months is, according to me, in my opinion, from my own experience, 6 months is very standard time. By that time, you would become the expert in the optional, and you must be knowing that the level of the optional is that of masters. That is postgraduate level knowledge you have to have. In optional, it is not like general studies. You have to be expert of your subject. You have to quote expert and the expert scholars, name of expert scholars in that. So that is very, very important. Give 6 months to optional. Apart from that, now I'd like to talk about most of you, I'm sure all of you are doing law, so most of you have thought about taking law as an optional. And I'd like to talk about some of you might be not be very comfortable despite doing law for 5 years. You might not be comfortable going ahead with law. That is very not natural. If I give you my own example, I graduated in English literature from Delhi University, but I was very much interested in political science and especially international relations. So not even for a second I thought that I'll go ahead with English literature, because I have done 3 years in that. I was very much sure that the general interest is something that will sell you through optional, because see, you all of us have to understand that optional is like it has a huge, huge syllabus. So if one does not have general interest in optional, then he or she will lose interest midway, and then your whole labor would be spoiled. So choose that optional in which you have general interest. You may be doing law, but if you have interest in political science, if you have interest in literature, if you have interest in history, geography, then I'd strongly recommend that go for something that you have general interest in. If you have interest in law, then it's like icing on the cake. You would be somebody who would already be expert by the time you complete 5 years, and you would be someone who would already be expert in the subject and can write. As far as optional law is concerned, I'm sorry, I have literally no idea about the law, but I just suggest that if you are thinking to have law as a optional, then please take the printout of the syllabus from the UPSC website and see that what all portion are matching with the syllabus that is there in your university. And once you do that, just tick, mark, tick, or highlight those common portions. And this way, what will happen that you would be somebody who would be preparing for your college examination, but at the same time, you would be smart enough to prepare for the civil services optional, and it will reduce your burden to a great extent. All the notes that you would be making during college time would be helpful and would be very helpful during your preparation for the civil services. So it will save your time. So that can be one strategy that you can do for those who are thinking of opting law as a optional. Apart from that, there are some general things that I'd like to discuss. I'd also like to discuss interview. So see, there are a lot of myths that in interview people are troubled, people are asked random questions, or XYZ things are going on in the sphere. So as per my own personal experience are concerned, my chairman was B.S. Vasisar, former commissioner of Delhi, and being from IPS, it is said that he may, bully you or something like that. I felt very comfortable, and there was nothing that was asked, out of the syllabus, out of not syllabus, out of the common interest. So it is not like that you'd be troubled and you'd be asked random thing, but it is very, very important that if you do not know answer to a question, you have to say that, sorry, sir, I'm not aware. Sorry, sir, I'm not, I do not recall at the moment. Never ever bluff the interview board. That is really, really very important that you do not, lie in the interview board. It is very important that you maintain honesty. And once you qualify mains, then or once you are in the mains phase, you'll get to know many things. As far as there one form that those who would be interviewed have to fill up. And that form is called detailed application form, and also in other words we call it biodata. So when you're in college, when you're in your university, so do try to participate in extracurricular activities, co-curricular activities, different events that are related to your field. So do that, because this will show that you're a person who is not bookworm. You're not a person who just submerged himself or herself in along with books and qualified and has come here for the interview. So as per my own experience was concerned, I did a lot of extracurricular, co-curricular activities, and this showed that this is a person who's interested in world beyond academics. So I'd strongly recommend that from now onwards, you do all these activities, participate in all these activities, and try to make best use of that, because that would also make your interview interesting, and this will take discussion away from academic field to something interesting that you have done. That is for optional and interview thing that we talk. Now coming to some general issues that are related to civil services examination. It is said that I also said that it is toughest examination. Indeed, it is one of the toughest examination in our country, or perhaps toughest. That is very true. But at the same time, I would say that you can make it very, very easy for yourself if you divide it into the blocks. So see, you must have heard that once somebody climbs mountain, then he just do not think about the summit. So he just look at the base and then make plan, and then just move ahead, and then again change his plan, move on, move on, move on. So that is the thing with civil service. So it is like marathon. You have to run a long race. So it is very, very important that you just, keep calm. You just divide your syllabus into the blocks and just deal one by one. Deal one square at a time, and you would not know when you qualified and when you became IAS, IPS, or foreign service or other service, whatever may be your preference. So that way you can make it easy. Second issue is that of कि कितने घंटे हमें पढ़ने चाहिए. That is the common questions that people ask. So I'd just say that there is nothing standard. There is nothing, blueprint that I can share with you. That depends on your speed or your own way of retaining answers. uh, way of retaining your academic things that you do. For me, it was 6 to 8 hours, and during a mains preparation, I went up to 10 to 12 hours. That is the thing. And schedule your own time. I used to follow 3 plus 2 plus 3 formula that I have shared at various other platforms as well. So I used to do 3 hours sitting at a time, then I'll take some break, then for 2 hours I'll read something, and then again for 3 hours. Depending on your university routine, you can plan something like that. But I would strongly suggest that you start that from end of third year or fourth year, so that you would not have to take break, and you would be able to qualify as early as possible. That is the thing. Next thing that I'm going to talk about is the importance of current affairs. So see, current affairs is something that has become favorite of UPSC, and I would say that around 50 to 60% questions, be it in prelims, mains, or interview, are inspired from the current affairs. So I'd suggest that do current affairs. If possible, try to read the Hindu or Indian Express if you are if you are going to appear through English medium. And if that is not possible, then try to read current affairs magazine, monthly magazine. There are some good institutes that provide magazine free of cost. I used to do Vision IAS magazine, and that is very comprehensive magazine that you can pick up and do, because in that way, see, we have to understand that UPSC has now moved beyond 1 year. So it is going up to 2 years when it comes to current affairs inspired questions. So if you do for 2 years, then you'd be somebody who'd have command over a 2 years current affairs things, and then many times UPSC ask index and all things. So index comes every year. So in first year, I have read that in Human Development Index, India scored such rank. So in next year, again, Human Development Index would be released by United Nations Development Program, and that would also help you to, make comparison and retain the body which releases that. So that is the advantage once you do current affairs for 2 years. But at the same time, I would say that 1 year is also sufficient. There is no standard time. If you have time, then do that. And whatever I am sharing with you, this is something that have worked for me and that I have done. So bring necessary change in your strategy, and whatever suits you, do that. That is the next thing. Apart from that, there are things like coaching is required or not. So during CLAT times itself, we have seen, I also joined one coaching institute for CLAT preparation, but we got to see that that is, at least my personal opinion, that it is the self study that is going to help us in our examination. So coaching is like, it is for guidance. If you can get guidance from your elders, seniors, then I would not say that it is quite essential to join uh, coaching institution. But if you have money, if you have time, if you can afford, then I'd say that there is no harm in joining coaching institutes as well. You join it, you take guidance, and that may make you things, that may make your preparation easy. But then there are various online sources. I did from free online sources that are available at the YouTube, because there are some of us who cannot afford to pay like 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs per year, and there are some institute in which there are 300 students sitting together, so you'd be lost in the crowd. That is also thing. So do your own analysis. But I'd like to make it very very clear that coaching institutes are not very mandatory. It is during the mock that most of the toppers fall in the coaching institute thing, and you'll see their names appear. Even my names would be coming from the various institutes, but it is only during the mock preparation that I had no choice than to get my mock interview by them, and there they like, you get in their name. So that is the thing, that is the basic thing. uh, I think most of the things have been covered, and right now there is nothing more that is coming to my mind. There is some more general things that I'd like to discuss. Always have confidence. It doesn't matter whether you're from English medium, Hindi medium, whether you are from humanities or you are engineer or somebody's MBA. So it really doesn't matter where you belong to, what is your socio-economic conditions and various things. UPSC, in my opinion, is one institution among various in our country which is very transparent, and its procedures are very clear. If you have capability, you can top the examination, and there would not be interference from anywhere. So please keep that in mind. Do not be, do not have any kind of inferiority complex at any stage. Always believe that you are the deserving candidate and you can make it. One more thing that I like to share with you all is importance of enjoyment to sharing time with friends. Many times what happens, we listen from toppers that people say that somebody has to read 16 hours, 17 hours. Personally, even during preparation things, I found it like impractical. I was not somebody who was giving 16 hours or 17 hours or something like that. Or you have become somebody who's not talking to friends, family members. You're just into the books and spending time in your room. It's not like that. There may be some time, like time between the prelims and mains, that becomes really hectic because UPSC deliberately puts pressure on you and give you 90 to 100 days, and there is a lot to cover, to revise. That time it may be that you are skipping movies, you are not chilling out with friends. Otherwise it is really important that you have fun, you go and watch movie, pursue your hobby. That will also increase your productivity. Do not be somebody who's like very serious, because being serious, you do not terrify yourself, you do not just burden yourself, you also terrify people who are going to look up to you and prepare for this examination. So be somebody who is chill, because this is a very easy exam, provided you distribute it over a large period of time and you have proper strategy and you follow it. So with this, I would say that I'm done with my my sharing of strategy. If there are some questions, I'd share. If there is anything left, then you're most welcome to discuss, and then I'll try to share my own experience with that.
Thank you, Mukund. It was really very enriching experiences for I think all of us, and we really enjoyed your talk. Now we are moving to the second part of this session, in which the questions has been asked by several students from my college. So Mukund, the first question has been asked by Rishabh Rajdev. The question goes like this: Did you join any test series program? If yes, which one? Which institute platform has the most comprehensive test series program in your opinion?
Okay. So I just forgot to say when I was talking about coaching and test series, I just forgot to highlight one point. See, I would strongly recommend that you invest your money in the test series. It is something that is going to help you a lot. And I joined test series of Vision IS Institute. There is something very personal, because when I attended my first seminar for civil services, me and Sumit, we both went together there, and we joined that seminar. So from there only I started getting to know about Vision IS, and from various topics I got to hear that Vision IS test series is very well, and believe you me, this is the best test series you will get. I'm not somebody who's promoting. I don't know even Vision knows that I have qualified for this examination. So this is my personal experience. I joined for preliminary examination at Vision IS. I did 35 test series, and for mains also I did 20 test series at Vision IS, and for essay as well. So especially if you look at their website, you'll see that most of the toppers have written their tests over there, and their answer checking is also of the highest quality. So I'd recommend that if you want to join, then cost is not very high. You can join Vision IS test series. That is something personal. But if you have some different opinion, then you are always you know welcome to pursue something that you have done. So there are other test series also, but I did not do anything apart from Vision. That was my only source. So you can do that, and it is really very important that we do test series. So I would strongly recommend that test series should be something where you put your money and where you can gain maximum benefit. So that is my take on this.
Okay, Mukund. So the next question is asked by Vaibhav Tomar. He says, Sir, can you please shed some light on what all books did you cover and which books or reading material should the aspirants pay special focus, considering that there is a plethora of options to choose from?
Right. So books. See, there are some common books that I'm sure that you'll find common in every topper stock or everywhere you search for UPSC. I would share with you my own book. I'm the person who kept my source very limited, and I always say whenever I get chance that it is very important that you read one book thrice rather than reading three book once. So as rightly pointed out, there are ocean of books and materials every now and then. You go to market and they would be selling something new. So it is very important that we keep our source limited. And now I'd say my own source, which I followed. So as I said, there are some common portions between the prelims and mains. So beginning with history, for modern history, I read India's Struggle for Independence, that has been written by various historians, prominently Bipin Chandra, Mridula Mukherjee, and Adit Mukherjee, and others. So that is one. Second, for modern history, see, you have to read two books. Spectrum by IPS Rajiv Ahir is another book that you have to read, because spectrum is something that is important for prelims examination, and India's struggle for independence is important for mains examination. So that way your whole this one modern history would be covered. Going back to ancient history, there is one book by R.S. Sharma, standard book, and he has also written NCRT. So you can do R.S. Sharma book for ancient history. Medieval, to be honest, I qualified, but I have not read medieval at any stage of my preparation. There were some question in prelims, and that UPSC after a long time suddenly asked question from prelims. So I would recommend you to read Medieval as well, Medieval by Satish Chandra, because UPSC somewhere is hinting that now we are shifting to medieval. So that is the history portion that we have covered. Now moving to the economics. So I did economics from Ramesh Singh. There is another book by Uma Kapil that is famous, but my source was Ramesh Singh for economics. Polity, all of you know M. Lakshmikant, that is the first book we pick up, and that is said to be the Bible of polity. So read nothing beyond M. Lakshmikant. M. Lakshmikant is such book that it covers everything. So I'd strongly recommend that do not look for anything apart from M. Lakshmikant for polity. For environment, ecology, and biodiversity, there is one book by Sankar IS Academy, and that is a book you can take latest edition, that is for environment. And apart from that, yes, geography is there. For geography, I would say that only source that you have to do is that NCRT class 11 and 12. There is nothing beyond that that you have to do. You have to do NCRT class 11 and 12 geography. If you do, then you don't have to do books like J.C. Leong, Majid Hossain, and all those things. Keep your source limited and revise them again and again, and that is going to fetch you extraordinary marks. Next is art and culture. For art and culture, we have to read Nitin Singhania, and in Nitin Singhania there are various chapters that we have to speak, like chapters on coin, calendar, cinema, all these things. UPSC is not very interested, so focus on something that is very very important, and that you have to do. Apart from that, there are some. I think I have covered common, and there are some portions which are there in the mains. For example, entire GS4 paper, ethics, integrity, and aptitude. For that, you have to do uh, uh, lexicon. And apart from that, there are case studies in ethics. For that, you have to do G. Subbarao. Moving on to next, there are topics like internal security and disaster management. For that, I did Lohit Matani. That is book written by IPS serving IPS officer, and that is a book that holistically covers all the parts. For world history, that is part of GS paper 1, I did Arjun Dev. There are various other books, but Arjun Dev is something that is that is thin book, so that would cover whole part of this one, world history. Moving on, next is MGS paper 2. Next is international relation. For international relations, since my optional was international relations, so I had read around 5 to 6 books by former foreign secretary. But for general studies, I'd recommend 2 books. One is Does the Elephant Dance by David M. Milon, who was Canadian High Commissioner to India. And second book that I would recommend is How India Sees the World. from Kautilya to the 21st Century. This is a book that has been written by former Foreign Secretary Shyam Saran, who retired very recently. So that is something that will help you with international relations. Apart from that, there are some other portions in GS paper 3, like there are science and technology thing are there, and apart from that, there are some portions which are covered by your current affairs. So for science and tech, I would not recommend you to read anything. You do not read a special book for science and tech that is very general. I'm from humanities background, so if you read current affairs, Vision IAS magazine that I used to do, it covered whole. You can read any current affairs, insight, or whatever you like, and that will be covered from there. So that is the whole book list. And here I add one caution, that is these are books which I read and worked for me. If you feel that NCERT is not working for me in geography, so you can go on to JC Leong. But I say that stick to your material. It is very, very important that you have trust in your material. See, if you swing from one material to other, there is no end in the material. If you go to the market, the book seller guy would tell you more books than you must have heard or any topper knows. So it is really important that you read one book thrice rather than reading three books once. And please follow it. I believe that result would be very positive and you would not burden yourself.
Okay, Mukund. So the next question is asked by Neeraj Kumar Paswan. He asks, how can one strategize one's own preparation in the college, considering that one has to dedicate at least 5 to 6 hours in classrooms and academics?
This is quite tough question because I was in Delhi University. I had English literature as my optional. So since all of us are students, so informally I'd say that many times I watched movie and wrote paper. But I think that as my conversation with Sumit goes on, I believe that law is something in which you have to give time. You have to give time, and you have to devote yourself. You just cannot move on like literature. But then it is really important that you do not miss your college activities or college academic part because of UPSC, because at the end of the day they are going to ask you questions in your interview about law and all, and then they are going to ask you activities in college. But cutting short, I say that you have to, like, if you have to gain something, you have to miss something odd. So I'd say that during college hours, if you do for 3 to 4 hours, so suppose if you get up in the morning, or if you study late into the night, if you cut short the time that we usually spend in gossiping and talking and loitering around, so that is something from where we can cut short our time, because somewhere it will demand sacrifice. So you can along with your friends, you can make plan to go out on weekend, and till that time you guys would be like studying. And apart from that, there are some activities which are optional for us. If there are some seminars, if you think that it is not very, very important, so you can skip that and you can study and prepare. But I'd say that during college hours, 3 to 4 hours is enough. And I'd like to share one thing that happened, that I got to listen from toppers few years back. You must be knowing Arthur Amir sir, second rank in 2015 civil services examination. So he was inspiration for me. And he was also in some NIT or IIT, I'm not exactly remember. And he said that he used to give 2 to 3 hours for his preparation. So that is something that at this moment I like to cite, because for me it was easy, to be honest, because our college schedule was also not that hectic. So that was easy. But he said that 2 to 3 hours he did, and it became easy for him. And once you pass out from college, I believe that as I got to know that placement happens few months before you pass out. So in that time you can devote your own entire time for civil services. In vacation and holidays you can do that. So that is my take. Rest you have to see for yourself how well you manage that.
Thank you, Mukund. So the next question is asked by Viswas Agarwal. He asks, Sir, is taking a drop for UPSC a good option in your opinion?
I'd say that if possible, do not take drop, because continuity is something that shows that this person is consistent in his efforts. This person is someone. So when I went there, so they were not asking me how many times what is the length of duration you prepared. So I graduated in 2018 from Delhi University. In 2019 June, I wrote my preliminary examination. So for board, it was like a smart thing was that for them it was obvious that guy has prepared for 1 year and came. So this is something when you directly pass out and then you appear, then that is something that would show that person is dedicated, determined. And in my case, my age was also not fulfilled 21. I was not 21 in 2018. So that is why I escaped. But I believe that in 5 years course, most of you would be eligible. So if possible, do not try to take this, gap, because if you think like I take gap, somewhere you may get that thought that I have time, I do in 1 year. That is one thing. And second is, but if you think that your preparation is not that strong, then I would recommend that never ever sit for preliminary examination. That doesn't mean that we just go from year to year and say that our preparation is not that strong, but it is important that you do not waste your attempt. If you think that by taking 1 year gap, next time you will ace it through, then I'd say that take gap. But if possible, if manageable, then I'd recommend that do not take gap. But important thing is that we have to qualify prelims examination. That is something that is the target. So if possible, if doable in that time frame, then okay. If not, then take gap. There is no harm in that. Nothing like there are people who have taken gap of 2 years, 3 years, and they still are coming in the top 10, becoming IS. So nothing wrong with that, not at all.
Okay, Mukund. So the next question is asked by Srija Pal. She asks, did you have to justify not taking up your own subject as the optional subject in the interview? If you could please shed some light on this.
No, no, not at all. I when I appeared before the bus teacher, I was also thinking that he's going to ask me why you wasted time in English when you have to take political science. In my opinion, see, we have different, ways to see things. I saw my different optional as something that I'm someone who is having bit expertise in both English literature as well as political science and international relation. And uh, and you have to see for yourself. You have to go with the confidence that I'm somebody who had traveled extra mile, so that would be appreciated. As far as questions are concerned, sometimes yes, they ask and they appreciate honest response. For in my case, I was prepared. I was asked in various mock that why did you do 3 years English and then political science. There is no linkage. I was honest enough to say that, sir, my general interest is in international relation. I like reading thinkers from political science, and but do not criticize your subject, because that would show somewhere that you're a person who have lot of contradiction. I used to say that, sir, English literature is very well and fine. I enjoy reading poets, various great authors of English literature. But when it came to pursuing it at the greater extent, I thought that political science and international relation suited well with me. I was more interested in it, and I used to give my personal examination. So IR was something. So we used to follow from class 11 and 12. Even Sumit and I used to have long discussion on IR, even during school days. We used to read Hindu newspapers. So from there, I developed this interest. So you can say same thing, that if you have general interest or if you think that it is a scoring or something like that, but I'd not say you to go in those realm, because if you analyze at micro level, you see that every subject is a scoring. Like you will see political science as a popular subject just because maximum number of people are opting for appearing in mains from this subject, and that is why our all result is high. But no subject is like less scoring or more scoring. Tell honestly, but I don't think that it makes any difference. And I was not in my real interview, I was not asked all these questions. It is irrelevant for them. They just want to know what is your personality, what is your thought approach. They would not mind and what what's your graduation subject and what is your optional. See, if you listen to engineer toppers, you'll find that most of them are taking humanities subject, philosophy, sociology, and they are scoring good marks. So it doesn't matter. Even from humanities, I took different subject and they did not ask. So do not be concerned about that. See, score good marks in mains. If you score really good marks in mains through your optional, then even if something goes bad in in interview, then at least what will happen? You'll not get IS. You may slip down sometimes and you'll get IPS. Mains is very, very important. Interview is not test of your knowledge. It is boldly written in UPSC notification. It is test of your personality. They will try to know what is your thought process. If you have taken different optional, whether you are somebody who is criticizing your own graduation subject and then taking different optional, or whether you are somebody who see good things in both, who appreciate both, and then tell honestly that this was the reason. Do not be bothered about all these things will be sorted out later on. They will not trouble you on these regions.
Okay, Mukund. Next question is asked by Lux Singla. He asks, could you give an example of how the division of syllabus into blocks would happen? Did you do it month wise or complexity of the topic wise?
Yes, like, so I'd say that I did it month wise. I had planned like I had when I began my preparation, I got one notebook and I made my plan for 2 years, and then I divided into months, 6 month plan, 3 months plan. And like I said, I used to follow 3 plus 2 plus 3 formula. So make something like that, 2 plus 2, or 3 plus 2, something like that, and pick up one subject at a time. So if you have two block, like if I had 3 plus 2 plus 3, so in first 3 hours I used to pick up one GS subject, and in next 2 hours I do current affairs, or in the next 3 hours I'm again going to pick up different GS subject. So suppose I'm reading, for example, if I'm reading polity, so again I would not read in second shift governance. I'd choose subject which is different so that my interest would continue. So if I'm reading polity, so I'd pick up environment or geography or history, so that there is difference in the subject. And standard time for me, for example, I'd give example of polity. So standard time in polity for me was 2 months. See, you have to again see at your own speed how speed you are doing it, what is your speed. But I'd say that do not hurry, do not you don't have to run into the race. This is marathon again. You have to run slowly, but when you read, make sure that you are confident in that subject. Do not, many times happen that we complete like in 20 days, 25 days, and then at the end of the day when we turn, we just know that there is nothing, there is no output, zero output. Take your time, go slow, but make sure that you keep a time frame. You just do not go into the world and just get lost. So that is also important. But uh, do not hurry also. So in UPSC it is said that balance of judgment is something that a person has to keep from the prelims stage itself. So balance of judgment, balance of time, you have to keep. You have to not give very much time. Like somebody doing polity for 5 months doesn't make sense. But if you do for 75 days, this is well and good. If you do for 45 days, well and good. 60 days is well and good. So keep something like that. Keep tab on your time frame, and you would be complete. You would be completing your syllabus in time. So that I used to follow like that.
Thank you, Mukund. So next question is asked by Surupa Das. Sir, is there an increase in the technicality and difficulty level of the question paper with every passing year? Is there any special attention needed in preparation of studies given one is from humanities background?
Sumit, can you please repeat question?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, yes. Go on.
So, so the question is, sir, is there an increase in the technicality and difficulty level of the question paper with every passing year? And is there any special attention needed in preparation of studies given one is from the humanities background?
At the outset, we can avoid adding, sir. I'm just like you, a student, still in a student phase. Moving on, it doesn't make any difference if you are from humanities. I'm sitting in front of you, humanities background, and I did not feel anything technical. So it's just that there are some general things. For example, in science and tech, even if they go after missions of ISRO or say NASA, then it is something that you know that is not something very technical in nature. They are not going to ask you very technical things. So it is said that Indian administrative service is very generalist in nature. We have uh, we have to understand that whatever we do, we have to keep general people in mind. We are not engineers. If IS needs engineers, he will get multiple engineers. There are experts in every subject who can be called upon by the government to help government out. We have to just keep in mind that what policies we are making, what are its impact. And personal opinion is that there would not be any trouble. There is nothing complex in the prelims paper, mains paper, and even in optional paper, until and unless, see, if somebody is opting for a mechanical subject, like there are some subjects like, for example, physics or something like that. So he may be asked like what are dynamics thing, how generator works or something like that. If I'm from political science, it does not make any sense. And believe you me, in interview they did not ask me any question from the technical background. They may ask general thing that what is the scenario of rollout of 5G, or something like related to controversy with regards to banning of apps, or general thing. These all are the things that everybody reads, everybody knows. So energy efficiency, all these common questions. Nothing difficult would be asked if you are not from technical background. But if you are from technical background, if you have done IIT in mechanical or say electrical or something like that, then it is very natural that they are going to ask you technical things. But for prelims, mains, I believe that question paper are same, except optional GS paper, and all are same. And there is nothing technical. You'll understand everything, and you'll be able to do all. So do not have all this thought. That just prepare and go ahead, and you are going to make it. And I'm example in front of you. All humanities, no IT, nothing, all sort of things. So it's okay. It's fine.
Okay, Mukund. So, next question is asked by Shreyas Sridhar. He asks,
Okay.
could you shed some light on the importance of qualifying papers, the two languages
Right. Right.
papers, English and Hindi, and CSAT?
Mhm. Okay. So see, in prelims there are two paper. One is general studies, and another is CSAT, Civil Service Aptitude Test. I would say that do not be worried about civil service aptitude test. All of us who are here have already qualified CLAT examination, so that comparatively, I would say that CSAT is easier. So I recommend when you appear for prelims, you have to give. I also forgot to mention that you have to give 4 months for preliminary examination. Do not forget that. I gave 6 months, but you can give 4 to 6 months. It is very important that you qualify prelims time and again. I say that attempts should not be wasted. That is very precious. As coming to CSAT paper, before prelims, 2 months before, I'd say that download the previous year paper and solve it. And if you are somebody who's getting over 100 and between 120, then I would say that do not be bothered at all about the CSAT paper. I got 100 marks, 110 marks in three paper that I solved. But you have to like follow the UPSC schedule, timer and all. If you are somebody who's getting over 100, do not be worried about CSAT paper. You just have to score 70. Even if you're 100, 190, nobody is going to ask you. It is the GS cutoff that is going to matter. 70 is the cutoff. I believe all of us can achieve that. Again, there is one technique that you can use. So even being from English literature, what used to happen that my English score used to get down. So what I did, I picked up math and reasoning. So there are three sections: English, maths, and reasoning. So if you solve one or two paper, you will get to know that these are some of the section in which my negatives are high. So just shift that, avoid that, and do rest two that is there. So I did reasoning and maths, and then I did English, and automatically somewhere my score, even in the this year paper, I still marks has not been released, but it was somewhere around 120 as I checked from various institutes key. That is there in prelims. Moving on to mains. In mains, all of us know that there are 9 paper, out of which marks of 7 paper, that is 1750 is content, and rest 2 paper are qualifying. So for most of us, one is English, that is common, and that is very basic English like essay writing and then precise writing. And I never, even looked at the question. I just went to the examination because this optional, these optional paper, sorry, this qualifying paper happens a day before your optional paper. So optional was a difficult thing. I was in mind that I'll just, even in break that we get between the 2 paper, I was reading optional. And then you write Hindi or whatever is your mother tongue. So if your mine was mathly, but still I went ahead with Hindi because for last time we speak Hindi. If somebody is Bengali, then he or she can take Bengali. Whatever you are comfortable, all languages that are there in the 8th schedule, you can choose anyone from that. You can mark that, you can write that examination. Again, that is qualifying in nature, and I believe people score extraordinary marks in that, but it doesn't matter. Out of 250, you just calculate 33%. So I'd say 100 marks and you'll score more marks. Then do not be worried about that. Even a day before in the evening, you just download paper, just see that what all things are being asked, and you would write it then and there's no problem with that qualifying.
Okay, Mukund. So next question is asked by Nitin Kumar Verma. He asks, kindly share your answer writing strategy. Also, how did you prepare for essay paper? So in general, he is asking about your writing strategy.
Right. So, see, as I told you, my preparation strategy was such that before 1 year, my preliminary examination, I was done with common portion of prelims and mains. So, I started going to the Vision IS on Sunday for writing the prelims test series. And at home, there are various websites, for example, Insight IS, IS Power, and there are various these websites I used to do from Insights on India. They upload questions every day, 2 to 3 questions. And even if you have not completed your GS paper, if you are somebody who is reading current affairs from the Hindu Express, there are questions that are uploaded from the current events, and you can do that question. So what I used to do, that I got one, white sheet, because UPSC is going to take your mains in white paper. I just, took a scale and divided, just put 2 lines on the both side of the paper, and I started writing. So initially, for one question, we get 8 to 9 minutes, in the mains paper, 7 to 8 minutes. But first answer, I still remember it was somewhere in June 2018. I wrote 17 or 16 June, and when I wrote, it took me 15 minutes, and answer was pathetic. So you have to start someday. You do not wait for the last moment. No, not at all. Mains is very important. Pre is important only to qualify. Once you qualify pre, it doesn't matter somebody has scored 195 or somebody has scored 99. This year cutoff was 98 for general category. Even if you have scored 98.5, it doesn't matter. Now mains is important. So there answer writing has a very important role. So do that and write 2 to 3 answers initially, and slowly, first day it would feel like, yeah, I'm not going to qualify, मेरा तो होगा ही नहीं, इतना खराब हुआ. पर आप जब जैसे जैसे लिखेंगे, आपके आंसर काफी अच्छी हो जाएगी. और जब मैं 6 महीने कर लिया, जब मैं दिसंबर तक कर लिया, जून से दिसंबर, तो जैन में आई ज्वाइन विजन आईएएस मेंस टेस्ट सीरीज. और 2-3 महीने प्री से 2-3 महीने तक मैं मेंस का भी वहां जाके टेस्ट लिखता था. और मैंने कुछ 20 मेंस के टेस्ट सीरीज किए थे, तो इट वाज लाइक आई हैड अराउंड 400 to 500 क्वेश्चन प्रैक्टिस. और बिलीव यू मी, इवन for 15 test paper, I could not complete in 3 hours. 2 to 3 questions were left. In last 5 tests, I just determined that now I believe that I am in the UPSC examination hall and I have to complete it. And this used to happen that in the last 15 minutes, I used to do 3 questions, 5 minutes per question. Now you would say how this is possible. So I just used to draw Venn diagram. I used to draw, sun diagram. I used to put a circle, right? Intro. I used to take out 4 rays and would mention 3-4 points, body, conclusion. That things happen. That thing happened even in my GS paper. And it is really important that you complete your paper. If you do not complete your paper, you're already out of the race. So it becomes really difficult and challenging. So this is things you can do. Firstly, practice at home, and then you can join test series, but do not join directly test series, because it is very important that you make best use of test series, and for that, if you practice for 1 and 2 months at home, you can do. And I have already mentioned there are IS Baba insights on India. All these are good sites from where you can do. As per essay is concerned, as was asked by Sumit in question. So as for essay, I did not do before mains. I did not. That means sorry, I did essay practice after preliminary examination. So I wrote 1 or 2 essay at home, and that was good in my opinion. And then I joined Vision IS test series, and there I started getting like 140 marks, 142 marks. But yes, I'd say one two tips. First is that you have to look through the topper's essay copy. So from there you get to know structure that you have to write, how they begin with anecdotes or quotes, or some data, some Sanskrit slok. All these things you can learn from topper's copy that is available at Vision IS, and I used to look down from there because that was my source. That is freely available. All these things are freely available. You don't have to pay. You just go download and enjoy. That is it. Next is when I wrote essay after my complete GS paper was complete. It is very important that to understand that ऐसे में कुछ भी नया नहीं है। ऐसे में आपने जो जीएस में पढ़ा है जनरल स्टडीज में, वही आपको ऐसे में लिखनी है। फॉर एग्जांपल ऐसे आ गया, मान लीजिए हेल्थ और एजुकेशन पे, जैसे कि हमारे टाइम पे जो मैंने ऐसे लिखा एग्जाम में, हेल्थ और एजुकेशन पे था कि दीज टू आर द फाउंडिंग पिलर्स ऑफ अवर सोसाइटी। तो हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन आपने ऑलरेडी कवर किया है, जीएस पेपर 1 में आपने कवर किया है हेल्थ एजुकेशन सोसाइटी में, जीएस पेपर 2 में भी आपने कवर किया है गवर्नेंस में, जीएस पेपर 3 में भी आपने हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन कवर किया है। पेपर 3 में कैसे, जो आई इंफॉर्मेशन एंड कम्युनिकेशन टेक्नोलॉजी बेस्ड इनिशिएटिव है। और फोर्थ में भी, जीएस पेपर 4 में भी आपको पता है कि फ्रॉम इथिकल एंड मोरल पॉइंट इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट these two, health and education, are the pillars on which society survive, and all the crime and everything that is happening, that is causing destabilization in our society, that can be reduced if we improve health and education. तो आपको कुछ नहीं करना है, जीएस का सिलेबस आपको याद होना चाहिए, दैट शुड बी ऑन योर फिंगर टिप। आप याद कीजिए, और जो भी टॉपिक है उसको आप सोशल, इकोनॉमिकल, पॉलिटिकल, कल्चरल, जोग्राफिकल, हर एंगल से एनालाइज कर दीजिए, and you would be somebody who would be writing a very comprehensive essay। और आपने कुछ एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी नहीं किया है, आप बस अपने जीएस को ध्यान में रखते हुए आंसर लिखते गए और कंप्लीट हो गया। उसके अलावा कुछ बेसिक्स हैं, कोड्स वगैरह, ये सब तो आपको याद करने पड़ेंगे, याद रखना होगा। जैसे मैंने बताया हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन पे था, तो मुझे एक संस्कृत श्लोक याद आ गया, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, may all be happy and all be healthy. So I concluded my essay with this quote, and I believe that I firstly wrote in Sanskrit, like in English and Sanskrit, and then I explained its meaning in English. So I think that is the brownie point that you get when you do something extraordinary, something different. And or at the top, I just wrote, uh, uh, I think I remember, if I can recall exactly, I just mentioned the poem of Rabindranath Tagore, where the mind is without freedom and the head is held high. So that was something that I was projecting, that if we improve on all this infrastructure, these a dream of Rabindranath Tagore can be achieved. So that are things that you can do. You can start poem and all those. So that is my take on this.
Okay, Mukund. So next question is asked by Aniket Singh. He asks, should the test series be taken after the completion and revision of the entire syllabus?
I'd say no. That is something that, again, now I have completed. I have secured rank 54, but still my syllabus is incomplete. So do not go in that thought, because then again, it you would always think that थोड़ा और कर लेते हैं फिर टेस्ट ज्वाइन करें। आप एक साल में, मैं कॉन्फिडेंट हूँ कि हम लोग जो है हर कोई जो मैंने बताया कॉमन पोर्शन वो कंप्लीट कर सकते हैं, और उसके बाद आप टेस्ट सीरीज ज्वाइन कीजिए। ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है कि टेस्ट में मेरे भी मार्क्स, मुझे याद है हाईएस्ट मार्क 148 गया था पॉलिटी में आउट ऑफ 200, और लोएस्ट समवेयर 60 था ज्योग्राफी में। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि टेस्ट में आपको एकदम से हर पेपर में 120 लाना है, ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं। टेस्ट एक्चुअली सीखने के लिए है कि आप कहाँ गलती कर रहे हैं, आप कहाँ जो है अटेम्प्ट नहीं लेना था आप अटेम्प्ट ले लिए, उसके लिए टेस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट है। पर हाँ, बिना कंप्लीट किए हुए मत जाइए, बिकॉज देन अगेन दैट इज that is kind of foolishness कि आपने complete ही नहीं किया, test लिख रहे हैं, तो obviously you'd be scoring 30, 40. That would demotivate you greatly. So I'd share a small incident that happened with me. I was not prepared. I appeared for test and I scored 30, 40, and I could not, I went into the kind of demotivation and depression phase. यार 30, 40 से अब कैसे होगा? पर जब मैंने एनालाइज किया तो मैंने देखा कि मेरा सिलेबस कंप्लीट ही नहीं था, मैं टेस्ट लिखने बैठ गया. सिलेबस कंप्लीट कर लीजिए, रिवीजन वेल एंड गुड साथ साथ करते रहिए ना. आप जब टेस्ट देते हैं तो 100 क्वेश्चन इज लाइक आपको 500 500 फैक्ट्स आपको रिवाइज कराएंगे वो टेस्ट सीरीज. तो टेस्ट सीरीज के थ्रू ही रिवाइज हो जाएगा और साइड बाय साइड भी आप पढ़ सकते हैं. तो ये दिस इज द वे जो आप कर सकते हैं. इसके अलावा अगर आपको पर्सनली जो सूट करता है वो करें.
Okay, Mukund. Mukund, I believe that you'll have to leave thoroughly. So,
Yeah.
like you can cover the next questions briefly. So, my next
Okay.
question
Okay.
is
Okay.
asked by Aditya Singh. He asks
Yeah.
that what all are the online sources that one has to refer?
Yes. So for preparation, there are sources like Mrunal videos on YouTube. In Mrunal you get. I used all these sources only. So there is entire geography recorded lecture by Rajni Solanki ma'am, who has already qualified civil service. Then there is history covered by Pratik Nayak sir. Very interesting. He will never let you feel that you are into the some online classes. Very interesting classes by Pratik Nayak sir. Mrunal Patel sir himself is expert on economics, and I don't believe that anyone in the civil services field has more knowledge on economics than Mrunal Patel sir. So lately he has joined an academy as well. There is an academy, but I did not do from academy. I used all these sources, and there are some channels who are optional. So I don't think somebody might be from PSIR here. So they are optional that you can use. But still, I'll say that School of Life, and then there are some other ORF, Observer Research Foundation. If you have PSIR, you can look at all these sites. For answer writing and for current affairs and all, there are sites like Insights on India, IS Baba, and then Vision IS. I would say that make best use of the Vision sources. So they are uploading current affairs, and that is free of cost. And then they are uploading infographics. If you are on Instagram, follow its page. I benefited a lot from all this. Everything is free of cost there. Only test series you have to pay. So they are just doing for the students. So make use of all those things. And their magazine is very good. That is uploaded on the website. Toppers copy you can download from there, and you can just save and try to analyze that how toppers write. So that is not there on any other website. So all these are general websites you can make best use in your preparation.
Okay, Mukund. The next question is asked by Tamalika Bera. She asks, can you elaborate a bit on note making and how to reconcile the information from sources to suit the need of the questions asked?
Yes. So see, at the very outset, I like to clarify that I am a person who was not making. So I used to I used to read book and used to mention at the top and bottom there are some spaces that is there on the borderline. So I used to take pencil and not on points there. So for GS and all, I have not make any notes anywhere. I read a standard book twice or thrice. But for current affairs, I used to make notes. So there I can help you a bit. So for current affairs, I made notes for entire 1 year. So the Hindu I used to take in the morning, and I always had a pen in my hand and the Hindu in front of me, and I would underline paper and then jot it down in my notebook. And what I used to do that, many times the Hindu or any newspaper does not cover the entire thing. So I would keep phone as well, mobile phone or laptop, and I just search more additional information from Wikipedia. So if you read one paragraph, Wikipedia is all of it can be edited. So some other sources as well, but from the correct government website, I'd write some additional points, and I used to revise it monthly. So that you can do date by making note. So only for current affairs I did it. So I'm sorry I'm unable to help you on GS part and all. But once you write in the book itself, so second time what happens that you can revise from there. And there is one problem with note making that I'd like to highlight here. See, we make notes according to our own understanding. Whatever I feel important, I'll write. and this may happen that other person would say that this is not important, I'll not write. But neither me nor you know that what UPSC is going to ask. So that was my fear, and that is why I used to read books. By doing books, I'm completing whole syllabus, even if I'm not thinking that this is important. But if I'm revising, I'm turning page to page, so I'll revise that. And if UPSC asks from something that is in your opinion that is not important, but UPSC has asked, then what you do, you'd be trapped. So that was my strategy. And but there are other people, other toppers, other people who are comfortable making notes. So do something that suits you. This is my take, this is my path, this is the way I did, and I got this rank. But if you are somebody who some of us makes brilliant notes. In fact, there are people who says that 10 or 15 question came from their notes or something like that. If you are at that expertise level, go ahead, make notes. That would make it easy for you to revise during mains, as we have very less time. But again, I believe that it is very, very important that we have think in our brain, especially 7 days before mains, because we would not be carrying any notes and all. So any way you are able to revise, that should be your criteria. That should be the thing that you should do.
Okay, Mukund.
So mate,
S-
10 to 12 more minutes. Okay, I have one more.
okay, okay. Okay, this is the
It is
last
on.
question only, and
Okay,
therefore
okay,
thereafter we'll proceed for the vote of thanks. So, one last
okay.
question by Aniket Singh. He asks, "Sir, what's your opinion on backup plan or an exit plan for aspirants?"
To be honest, I did not have any backup plan, and I say that when I did not join CNLU Patna, somewhere I was thinking that अब क्या होगा, अब तो लॉ भी नहीं ज्वाइन किया, अब तो एज भी आगे भाग रहा है, ये सब बातें। पर अभी से आप बैकअप प्लान नहीं सोचिए। आई थिंक one who has asked, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. So he is already doing law. That is very promising career, and you already have backup plan. बट अभी से आप मत सोचिए। क्या होगा कि अभी से आप बैकअप प्लान सोचते हैं ना, तो आपका प्रिपरेशन हिट कर जाएगा। क्यों सोचना है बैकअप प्लान? 6 अटेम्प्ट दे रही है ना आपको यूपीएससी, दैट टू इफ यू आर फ्रॉम जनरल कैटेगरी। इफ यू कम फ्रॉम any XYZ category, you are getting some more your more plans. मत सोचिए, क्यों सोचना ही नहीं है। अब आप बोलेंगे कि नहीं ये तो इरेशनल है। एटलीस्ट मेरे लिए तो नहीं था। मैं प्रिपेयर्ड था कि मैं सेकेंड अटेम्प्ट दूंगा कहीं ना कहीं, और नहीं होगा तो लास्ट में इंग्लिश लिटरेचर से मैं था। मैं सोचा कि ठीक है, एडिटर बन जाएंगे। जिंदगी तो यूपीएससी में खत्म नहीं होती है। दैट इज माई टेक। और आप ऑलरेडी लॉ कर रहे हैं। आप कभी भी लॉ का जो होता है, आई थिंक स्टेट पीसीएस पे एग्जाम कराते हैं। आई डोंट नो अबाउट यूपीएससी, बट स्टेट पीसीएस कराती है, बिहार जुडिशियल सर्विसेज, एवरी स्टेट हैव जुडिशियल सर्विसेज। आप उसमें कर सकते हैं। दैट इज आप प्राइवेट सेक्टर में कर सकते हैं। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट भी I believe that every one of us have some capacity। अब तो LPG का टाइम है, बहुत सारे एवेन्यूज हैं, तो वुड बी अर्निंग। बट पहले आप मत कीजिए। आई वुड से बैकअप प्लान आप तब सोच गो फॉर बैकअप प्लान when you have already exhausted 4 attempts of yours. Till then, believe you me, prelims is very risky game. Once mark comes, I would not be surprising if I may have qualified by 2 marks. Prelims is very, very risky. If somebody flunks in mains, then it is natural that somewhere he has done something, he has missed something, that's why he is failed. But failing in prelims, you can never judge that this person is, has done something wrong. तो इसीलिए आप जो है 4 अटेम्प्ट तक, आई वुड से कि डू नॉट हैव एनी बैकअप प्लान। 4 अटेम्प्ट तक नहीं होता है तो आई वुड से इट इज वाइज एंड रेशनल दैट आप बैकअप प्लान के बारे में सोचें, और 2 अटेम्प्ट बहुत जुडिशियली यूज करें। तो दैट इज माय टेक। बट अभी नहीं, अभी तो फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट होने वाला है। जस्ट go with full confidence and make it in the first attempt. Maybe you don't have to bother for any backup plan. That
Thank you,
is it.
Mukund. That
Okay.
was really very, very enriching session for all of us, especially when we are going to um, attempt the UPSC CSC in our upcoming years. Having said that, now I would like to call upon Mr. Gaurav Karwa for vote of thanks.
Uh, Hello, Mukund. I
Hello,
thank
Gaurav.
you on behalf of the Kate Cell for such a wonderful session, and you gave very good insights and answered various queries of the students brilliantly. Just to highlight the broad points of the session, so basically, you talked about how giving adequate time for preparation is sufficient, and then focusing on common subjects of mains and prelims is necessary. Then setting aside ideal time, which is 15 months for common subjects and around 4-6 months for optional subject is sufficient. And then you also talked about how investing in good mock test series is
Mm,
very important, and then how coaching is not not a not necessary for cracking UPSC, but you can surely go to coaching for some guidance. And then lastly, you talked about how confidence in yourself and your preparation is necessary. And then obviously, your field doesn't matter. And then balancing both preparation with life is something which is important. Then lastly, trusting in the transparency of the UPSC selection process will go a long way. So I thank you once again and I congratulate you on your wonderful rank. And I wish you all the very best for your training at Labasna and the bright career in bureaucracy. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'd also like to add thank you so much for joining and having this conversation. And I'd just conclude by saying that, just be confident, be happy, and all of us, if I can make it, then all of us can make it. There is nothing rocket science in civil services. Take it easy. And I'm pretty sure that all of us are going to join bureaucracy, interested ones, and all of us will come up with flying colors. Thank you all. Thank you, NUJS, and especially SAIL that has organized this webinar, and wish you all the best. With that, let's conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukund.
Thank you so much. Thank you.